Happy New Year! How you doing, guys? Hope you're all well. So we're back for the first podcast of 2021, and this interview is going to be a very, very special one. So I spoke a little bit about my little bit of dabblement in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I'm very, very honoured not to have my very close brother with me, but someone who knows so much about cryptocurrency. So Tony, aka Nanzo Scoop. How you doing, T? You all right?
All good, Dave. You good?
Yeah, right. I'm good. How was your New Year's? All right?
Yeah, all good. Nice and quiet, nice and civilized for once. That's always been civilized with the kids and the wife. So yeah, just nice and easy. Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you. So yeah, so listen, you're the person who first told me about cryptocurrencies. I know at the time it was more about Steam, but obviously Bitcoin is the one that gets the most press and one of the most everyone talks about. But I want to delve into first what got you involved in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. What enticed you into getting into that?
Yeah, so I first heard about cryptocurrency in 2013. So back then, Bitcoin hit a price of $1,000. And everybody was getting excited about it. And I heard about it, I think through, it might have been Twitter or one of those online platforms. And I thought, oh, this sounds quite interesting, digital currency. Mm-hmm. And so back then it was pitched as a disruptive currency. So it was an alternative to dollars, an alternative to pounds and fiat currency. So I thought, oh, this sounds very interesting. And I looked deeper into the technology and how it actually worked. And this whole concept of peer-to-peer transactions. So right now, a lot of the things we do on the internet requires somebody in between, a third party, to make it happen. So if I send you an email, you got Gmail on my side, and if you use Yahoo, then Yahoo are in between our communication. And if I want to send you money over the internet, I have to log into my bank account. I have to take your details, so it goes through my bank, it goes through your bank before it gets to you. Whereas
or something like PayPal or something like that as well.
Yeah, and so if we look at the way that some of the technology is developed, so if you look at things like Napster and file sharing, that is a whole peer-to-peer. So you just send the file to somebody and they'll get it back, and there's nobody in between that. And so this seems like, to me, a natural progression where rather than just files we'll be sending value, we'll be sending money back and forth. And I could see immediately what this would mean. It would mean that rather than people, if you want to send money abroad, going for things like Western Union, you could just send Bitcoin and it will go from my wallet directly into your wallet. And to me, it was like, oh, wow, if this has some merit to it, this could be amazing. So I looked into detail and I looked into, first of all, I looked into Bitcoin. And then I looked into all other cryptocurrencies because around early 2014, a whole bunch of new cryptocurrencies were coming on board. They were called altcoins then. So you had things like Darkcoin, which is now Dash, was launching. You had things like Monero that were launching. And so when you looked into the detail, you understand that there were certain different mechanisms behind it. So, you know, you had Bitcoin, which had a thing called proof of work. So it worked one way. And then you had things like Monero and Bitcoin, I think it was back then, and they used something else called crypto notes. So you started to understand different technologies. And so I just got lost down a rabbit hole. I mean, you know me, I used to be a DJ, right? Now I can tell you from 2014 to 2017, I don't know a single tune that was released during that era because all my spare time, I was just on this weird, quirky Bitcoin rabbit hole that I was down. So that's how I got into it. And then obviously I dragged you into it after a stage. And really it was about, because when I got into it, you had to be interested in the technology in order to navigate around it. I mean, back then I was trying to mine Bitcoin. And so you would, I'd get these USB.
Explain mining. What's mining?
Okay, so in order for the protocol to work, you have something called a proof of work. Now, without going into too much technical detail, in order to, if I send you a transaction, what we need is for the network to validate that I have the money that I should have to send to you. So in order for that to work, you've got different, what they call nodes, so different computers around the world, and they all are interlinked, and they all communicate to each other to say, yes, Tony has the money to send 0.1 Bitcoin to David, right? But what they do is they enter a competition to see who's going to confirm the next block. So I would say I'm going to send some Bitcoin to David, and it will go across the network, and then people will pick that up and put it in their what they call their block, and then they will then have a competition to be the next block on the network, right? And the way that you do that is by mining. Everybody would mine, because one of the incentives for mining is that you are issued new Bitcoin, right? Okay. So people would want to mine so they could get
for free. You get it for free when you mine it.
You get it from the network, but in order to earn it, you have to basically solve the competition, and part of that is putting computational power, which normally costs you the hardware that you're using, and it will cost you electricity as well. So that's the work. So it's saying the value is that you've put in a certain amount of hash power, which is what it's called, in order to earn that Bitcoin. So it's competition. So whoever's got the most will win. So, you know, I looked into all of that and understood that, and understood how the different coins worked and the different protocols. So so it's a whole bunch of geeky stuff, and I don't know the level of geekiness that your listeners want to go into, but so that's
how you got to it.
Yeah, so that's how I got into it, and that's kind of the level of understanding that, you know, you had to have at the time in order to do it. Whereas when I introduced you to it, you had some new protocols. So at that time it was Steam, which is now Hive, and that just allowed you to earn Steam tokens by blogging, right? And so that for me was like, and it had a very easy user interface for people to just go on, and you'd create an account like you'd create an account on Facebook or whatever. And so to me, it was like, oh, wow, you know, I can introduce you to it, and you can just log into it, and other people, you can do what you do on Facebook and other places, and you can earn cryptocurrency. And so, you might not think that Steam's very valuable, but you can go and trade that for Bitcoin or Litecoin or other cryptos. And it's a way of people getting in and earning cryptocurrency without having to understand all the technical stuff or even risk trading. So that's kind of when I introduced you to it around, I think that was 2016, wasn't it? Around that point.
So for me, cryptocurrency, delving into that, it's been very, very, very interesting and very, very cool. I mean, but let's talk about the type of, if I'm a beginner, for instance, I'm seeing cryptocurrency going for like 20,000. It's talking of like £30,000. Like, I mean, I ain't got £30,000 to buy a cryptocurrency that I don't know much about. I mean, let's break it down. You don't actually have to buy one whole Bitcoin, can you? Do you?
No, you don't. No, you don't. You can buy fractions of a Bitcoin. So you can buy £1 worth of Bitcoin, £10 worth of Bitcoin. So what they call it now in the game is stacking sats, because the smallest denomination of Bitcoin is a Satoshi, and that's like, you know, 8 or 9 decimal places to a Bitcoin. So you can buy fractions of a Bitcoin. You don't need a whole Bitcoin. And that's what I'd encourage people to do. If you're getting started in it and you just are interested in the technology, you can start off with an account. You can start an account on something like Coinbase, and you know, you can hook that up to your bank account, and then you can buy £10 worth of Bitcoin, and you've got it. And then from there, you probably want to get it off of a centralized exchange, so you understand the principles of it, because the principles around cryptocurrency is that you own your money, and if you just keep it on an exchange, a third party owns your money. So that's no more better really in principle than holding your money on the bank, right? The whole idea about crypto is that you own your crypto. So what I'd advise someone to do is buy just a nominal amount of cryptocurrency from Coinbase, and there's other exchanges they could use. Once they've got that, they can then send that to their own wallet. So I'll say use something like Exodus, which you can hold on your laptop. Use that, so you send it there, and then that becomes yours, and then you start understanding things about things like private keys and addresses, and just get an understanding of why it's important for you to remember your seed phrase, which you'll get at the beginning.
Yeah.
And just those little basics that, this is now my money, which I now hold and I'm solely responsible for. And it really is your money. So if you lose your access to your Exodus wallet or whatever personal wallet you have, then you lose your money. It's almost like having your wallet on a bus with £20 in it and losing it, right? Exactly. Once it's gone, it's gone. And that's power and responsibility, because once you're holding it, nobody can tell you what to do with it. Like, your bank sometimes, when you might want to pay money on your credit card, might tell you, oh, we're not letting this transaction through. We thought it was a bit dodgy. Oh, can you phone us and check? That can never happen over the Bitcoin network. You can send your money to whoever you want, as small or as big as amount you want, without anybody interfering. And that's really, really powerful, especially if you're doing transactions in different countries.
Yeah, so it's very important to say that you are your own personal banker, though, which means that for customer service. So if you send Bitcoin, £10 worth of Bitcoin, and you send it to the wrong address, you can't then phone up. There's no customer service to phone up and say, listen, I've sent it to the wrong place. Can I get my money back? You have to you are your own bank. So you have to see it that way and, really, really take care with what you're doing, especially with what you're sending.
Yeah, which is why I advise for people to start really, really small amounts of money that you can afford, money that you'll spend on a night out for a drink or whatever. And given that we're all locked down, no one's going out for a drink, really small amounts of money, just to understand how it works and, send it to your friends, get them to send it back to you, maybe try a small little mobile wallet and send money to that wallet and just have an understanding of how it works. And then you can understand the different maybe fees that are involved and, different protocols or different coins charge different fees. And so you can just get associated with those currencies. And then when you get a little bit deeper, you can say, well, what are these used for? Because what you'll find with cryptocurrencies is that lots of them have different what we call use cases. So right now, Bitcoin, and the reason why it's so big is that it's effectively used as digital gold, for the amount of time that it's been around, how robust it is, the network effect, the amount of people that are involved and value Bitcoin. It's almost the equivalent of digital gold at the moment. And that's its value proposition. So when people say that Bitcoin is not that fast, I can't send money really, really quickly, it's not meant to be fast. It's meant to be secure. It's meant to be something you can rely on. It might take a little bit longer. It's a whole lot faster than trying to exchange gold, like physical gold bullions around. But it might not be as fast as other protocols. However, it is the digital gold of cryptocurrencies. And it's almost like Bitcoin is here and all the other cryptocurrencies are floating down here somewhere in terms of their network effect and their usefulness. And so always bear that in mind, because when you come involved in crypto and you talk to different people, they will tell you about this wonderful weird coin that they're involved in and why it's going to make you a millionaire in a year's time, and it's going to do 10x, 100x and 50x, and they're going to talk about all those things. But there's a whole bunch of factors why it's far more secure in what is a very risky area of investment to have a good position in Bitcoin before thinking about delving into all these weird and wonderful other things, and just have a basic understanding of how Bitcoin works, and then start to get a feel for some of the other protocols.
Yeah, no, sounds good. I mean, for me, I mean, for most people watching this, I think they won't really have I want to try and make it as clear and as basic step by step as possible. Like if you're a complete beginner, so I know we've touched on it, but I just want to literally just give them a step by step role of if I was to get into Bitcoin today and I want to put in £20, what would be my steps? If I'm like, listen, I've listened to this podcast, I've read a lot about Bitcoin, I want to invest £20. What would literally take me through the step by step role I would have to do? I know you mentioned we could do it together. I know you'd mentioned, go to Coinbase, create an account there. Yep, you take over from there.
All right. Okay, look, I'll give you the step by step of what people should do if they are really, really want to do it. But I will caveat that around the whole conversation around why you're doing it, what your aims are, what your aspirations are. We can have that conversation separate, and I think that's the most important conversation before you do. But if you come to the decision that you really want to get some Bitcoin and you really don't know how to do it, you just want to have BitDibble. It's very simple. I mean, I would say sign up to Coinbase. Sign up to Coinbase. And then if you sign up to
Coinbase.com, right?
Coinbase.com. I mean, for example, I haven't used Coinbase in like 4 years because I don't.
I mean,
really
but yeah.
But in terms of like trying to get your cash into it, I know that Coinbase is one of the most reputable ones. It's unlikely to go under anytime soon. So sign up to Coinbase or Binance or another one, Kraken or whatever it is that you think is the most secure. So you sign up to this. You will then be able to link a bank account of yours with that site, and then you'll be able to transfer, like you would normally do a bank transfer, online bank transfer, money from your bank account, if you have a bank account, into Coinbase. And then once your money is there, you will have whatever it is, £10 or $10 in your Coinbase. And then as part of the Coinbase offering, they have an exchange where you can exchange your £10 or $10 for £10 worth of Bitcoin. And so you look at it. So whatever the price is of Bitcoin at the time, that's effectively how much you're paying for your £10 worth of Bitcoin. And then you've got that Bitcoin sitting right there on your Coinbase account. Now you might just want to leave it there because you trust Coinbase more than you trust yourself, or you trust, the security of your laptop. And that's it. You don't have cryptocurrency in your account, right?
So once I've created my Coinbase account, I've bought £20 worth of Bitcoin. It's now in my Coinbase account. Now let's touch on the wallets, because now it's in my Coinbase account. Even though I've still got access to that, that is still on Coinbase's platform. So if anything was to go wrong with Coinbase, my Bitcoin could potentially be, there could potentially be an issue with that, if something which won't happen. But let's talk about your digital wallet that's not online, that's offline, that's that you can get on your computers or on your phones, where you can transfer the Bitcoin you've actually bought, and you can pull it into your own personal wallet. Yeah.
So as you say, Coinbase or Binance or whoever, all these exchanges are custodians of your money. So they grant you access to your money, and that can have its benefits and its burdens. Right. So say you want to then move that, it's quite simple. You would have an option on Coinbase, which will be to withdraw your Bitcoin that you have on there. And so what you will then get is, well, where do you want to send your Bitcoin to? So at that point, you need a destination, so a wallet of sorts. So there are various wallets. There are lots of wallets you can get, and you can look this up. You can get wallets that for your mobile phone. Again, perhaps not the most safest place to keep your wallets. You can have wallets that are software wallets, which are on your computer. And you can have then cold storage wallets, which are, again, you probably not want to think about as a beginner. But eventually you want to have something like a hardware wallet, which basically is like either a Trezor or a Ledger, which doesn't actually, your private keys, which is the most important part, doesn't touch the internet, which is where it can be vulnerable to somebody taking it. So there are various options. So once you choose one, let's say we go with the Exodus. You've heard about Exodus. I've mentioned Exodus. So I think it's exodus.io or wherever it is. And then you download the wallet, and it's just a software that's on your computer. And you can open that up, and it will tell you something like, well, here is your seed phrase. Make sure you write this down in pen and don't lose it. Now, when they say that, they actually mean write that down, do not lose it. Because if anything happens to your computer and you can't access your Exodus for whatever reason, that's your backup. Your backup isn't to phone up Exodus and say, oh, I've lost my computer's crashed, or my daughter spilt coffee all over my computer and I can't get it. No. Your backup is you can put that seed phrase in and access your wallet. But also keep that seed phrase very, very safe, because anybody can put that seed phrase in and access your wallet. So that's something that you always need to bear in mind.
Can you access your seed phrase at any time? Or can you get access to your seed phrase at any time? Or can you only get it once you first sign up? So I believe.
Say again?
Yeah, so if I was going to my access now and get my seed phrase, I won't be able to get it, will I? Because it was only there.
I don't think you can. It's only when you first sign up. But for example, if you know that you have your password and you can access your Exodus, but you don't know the freeze phrase, you might want to think about transferring to another account where you do have the seed phrase, just in case you lose it. So you always want to have the seed phrase, the backup for your actual wallet, because that's essentially your disaster recovery for your funds. So once you go in, they'll give you your backup. You've written your backup down, and now you've gone. It's something like Exodus is a multi-coin wallet, so you've got different coins on there. So you can have Bitcoin on there, you can have Litecoin, you can have ETH, you can have all of quite a few. Some you can't. You can have them on there. So what you would then do is in your Exodus, you will have the option to go into your Bitcoin and then put in your Bitcoin address. So you can say, it'll say whatever it says. I mean, I can't remember, I haven't looked at it so long, but you can get your Bitcoin address and that's the address you would put into Coinbase when it says, where do you want to withdraw to? You want to withdraw that $10 that you put in into this wallet on your Exodus. And then you just put that in. Again, you'll have things potentially like two-factor authentication, whatever you're putting in security in your Coinbase, and then you can just basically send it to your own personal wallet. And then once it's there, it's yours. No one can touch it. You can leave it there for the end of the time. As long as you've got your seed phrase, you can always recover it. Cool,
and that's good. So most of the people will be like seeing all the hype headlines about Bitcoin. You know, obviously, I see a headline the other day just about, is it going to hit $30,000? You know, we're still right now. I mean, I checked my Exodus and I was like, oh my god. I mean, so okay, cool. And that's the things that people gravitate to, obviously, because it's like. But what determines value of Bitcoin? So what determines Bitcoin reaching, 30,000 or dropping down to zero?
It's just basic market. Yeah, it's basic market economics. So it's like any asset, people value it. You've got more buyers than you have sellers, it will go up. And if you've got more sellers than you have buyers, it will go down. It's really no more complicated and no more deeper than that. But again, as somebody, and again, this comes back to my original point, you need to ask yourself, why are you investing in cryptocurrency and why are you doing it now? If you're doing it because your mate around the corner says you can turn £100 into £100,000 in a year, then essentially you are gambling. But if you have, my thing with people would be, have an investment strategy, full stop. I mean, when I first got involved in Bitcoin, I had a steady job for God knows how long. It was a good job. It paid me well. I saved a bit of money. So I had a nice little nest egg of savings. I didn't have much savings, but I never invested. I never had any investment because the idea of investing didn't really appeal to me. It was like, oh my God, I'm going to put my money in there. And if I want to move it around, it's £15 every time I do a trade. It's like, I'm only looking to trade like a few £100. I'll be killed in fees. So that didn't really appeal to me. But one thing that Bitcoin did teach me was just the basic principles of investing. So, if you've got bad debt, you want to get rid of your bad debts. Because the reason why I'm saying this, and if you've got you haven't got steady income, you want to have a steady income. If you haven't got like a nest egg of money, like 3 months worth of savings or 6 months worth of savings, you want to have that. And the reason why I say this before you invest in Bitcoin is that if anything bad goes on in real life, you lose your job or, you go into a bit of financial difficulty, the first thing you're going to do, if you're not stably, is sell your Bitcoin. That's the first thing you're going to do. It's like the minute you hear about it, especially if it's doubled in price, it's doubled in price, or I'm going to sell it. And then that's how people miss out. And if it goes down in price, you're definitely going to sell it. Oh my God, this is a complete waste of time. And you're going to become bitter about it. So the first thing I would say for anybody is have an investment plan, have an investment strategy. I don't care what you invest in, just invest in something that you have confidence is going to go up in the long term. So whether that's property, whether that's stocks, whether that's bonds, whether that's cryptocurrency, have confidence that over the long term, and I'd say 5 years, I have a 5-year plan, it's going to go up in value. And then you think about, well, how can I then gradually invest on a consistent basis over the course of 5 years into it? And how much can I afford to invest? Is it £100 a month? Is it £200 a month? Is it £10 a month? And just stick to that steady plan of investing. So if you've got maybe £100 a month you can invest, you might say, well, I'm going to put £50 into stocks, and I'm going to put £25 into Bitcoin, and I'm going to put the other £25 into some random other cryptocurrency. That might be an investment plan, because if you don't have a plan, right, what's going to happen is that when it goes up, you ain't going to know what you're going to do. Am I going to sell? Am I going to buy more? What am I doing here? You'll see these figures happen on you'll see money go up on your account, and you've got no idea what you want to do. Same if it goes down. It's like, oh my God, do I sell now? Because is it going to go down to nothing? Am I going to lose all my money? Or do I buy more? Because, so if you don't have a plan, you're just going to get wrecked. And that's what happens to a lot of people. I've seen people have portfolios that go up massively in value, and they've got no plan to sell anything or to do anything, and then it plummet down, and they're like lost in no man's land. So have a strong plan of what you want to do, is what I'd say.
I mean, my basic plan is I never sell anything when it goes down. I've got a stable amount of how much I've put in. If it goes below that, I never ever sell. I just wait till it goes up. If it goes above that, if it goes over a certain amount, then I might skim a little bit, then I might sell a little bit just to take a little bit of profit. I never ever, if it goes low, I never ever sell. Always sell when it goes above, and I'm in the profit margin. I mean, but in talking about that, I mean, has the mind frame of Bitcoin changed in terms of this was seen as a currency or like now I see is it more of an investment, more seen as a stock than an actual currency that's going to actually be our new way of living? Because now I see people seeing it more as a stock. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'll say this, right? Any form of money has certain properties, so those properties are, it's a medium of exchange, and that's what you mean by currency. I can exchange my money with your money, and we can exchange money, and it's fungible. So one Bitcoin is the same whether I've got it, whether you've got it, or whatever. So you got a medium exchange, and that goes with pounds and dollars. They're just for exchange, and also it's a store of value, right? So that's what Bitcoin is. You can store your value in Bitcoin, and that's what Bitcoin, gold, and even to a certain degree, pounds and dollars, you store value, and it's also like a unit of account and all other things, right? So when you say is it this or that, it's both, right? It's both. It's both. It's the way you can exchange stuff, and it's the way you can store value. What you've found over time is that when Bitcoin first came out, and you read a white paper, a lot of the talk was around kind of peer-to-peer cash. It's cash, it's cash. And so people automatically assumed it's something which you have to be able to go and buy a coffee with, right? Now, that isn't so much the narrative. If you wanted to go and buy a coffee, you probably wouldn't necessarily use Bitcoin to buy a coffee, But that doesn't mean that Bitcoin doesn't have a huge value in another sphere, which is as a store of value. And that's what is the biggest narrative drawing people to Bitcoin now. Like if you take most of 2020, we had all the issues with the response to COVID and the printing of money across the world in order to deal with the crisis around COVID. And for a lot of people that have their money and their wealth, and some of that is stored in dollars, you are devaluing their dollars. And alongside that, just in terms of where to invest money, the pickings are slim. So what's happened is that lots of people have now seen Bitcoin as a viable hedge against their other investments. So when I look at the journey that I've been through Bitcoin, when I first joined, it was people that were mainly interested in the technology. It was people that were interested in the philosophy around Bitcoin. That's who was involved in it. And so there was really big aspirations about what you would do with Bitcoin. When I introduced you and other people around 2017, 2016, it was more about speculation, right? People were like, oh, if I put in 100 quid, I can make this much money. It's going to go up 20 years. Bitcoin went up. If I put my money in this ICO, this will go up. Bitcoin, blockchain is the big thing, or distributed ledger. So everybody was talking about a whole bunch of speculation of what you could do with this technology.
Yeah.
Right now, what you have is institutional investors, so people who are already wealthy, have made a lot of money in other areas, right? They're interested in, how can I protect my wealth?
Right.
If you're $100 million and you're a hedge fund, or you're a high net worth individual, you might say to yourself now, you wouldn't have said it before because the value of Bitcoin was too small for you to even worry about it. Because you'd think, well, I could invest in Bitcoin, but that's not really going to get, my money's going to get lost there. It's too, I'm putting in too much money for the market cap. I'm not even sure I can get my money out, because I don't know there's enough people buying and selling for me to get even my money out if it goes up in value. But now that Bitcoin's market cap has hit $500 billion, people are now thinking, oh, okay, I can start taking this seriously now. So where other people like us might be looking at Bitcoin at 20,000 and 30,000 and be like, oh, bloody hell, that's well expensive. There are some people that are looking at it and saying, well, actually, I'll take a look at this, and I'll maybe put in 3-5% of my net worth into Bitcoin. And to them, that might be $3 to $5 million. Right? And to their mind, they're like, well, and there are more people more intelligent than me about macroeconomics, which is kind of the world economics, that are saying that, Bitcoin could be a potential competitor with gold. And so its market cap can go from where it is now, 500,000 to maybe 7 trillion or whatever. So that's why you got a lot of...
We might be getting people's heads here. When you say market cap,
okay.
Can you explain what market cap is?
Okay, so the market cap
is a market cap, right? So
So market cap is basically the value of all the Bitcoins in circulation. So you've got your 30,000 market cap as it is, and then you've got the amount of Bitcoin in circulation, I don't know, with 18 million or whatever it is. So it's the 20,000 times the 18 million. So whatever it is, it now adds up to $500 billion.
So it's the value of Bitcoin, what it's worth.
One individual Bitcoin.
Times by the amount of Bitcoin there is everywhere. Times by the amount so the amount of Bitcoin times by the current price equals the market cap.
Yeah. So you got that, which is the current market cap, and then you got your fully diluted market cap. And this is what you need to bear in mind when you're investing in other coins. Yeah. So you've got the current market cap, which is the current coins in circulation, and then you've got the total amount of coins that are likely to be in circulation, depending on what it is. So that's something you need to bear in mind when you're looking. So for Bitcoin, that's 21 million. So we're quite close to the total amount of Bitcoins they're ever likely to be currently in circulation. So yeah, when I talk about market caps, like to the person that's looking at Bitcoin and maybe looked at it when it was like $200, or perhaps heard about it from a friend when it was like $10, to now find out it's $30,000 seems like astronomical. But the people getting involved in the game now are like saying, okay, yeah, I'm interested. Maybe I should be having Bitcoin as part of my, what they would call their Bitcoin strategy, investment strategy. I should have a strategy for Bitcoin. What's my strategy for Bitcoin? I'll put in 2% of my net worth into Bitcoin, and I've got it there. And if it goes up to what some people are saying, 100,000 or 300,000, some people are saying by 2025, a million, then great. I've just turned my 1 million into 10, 15. So that little bet for me has potentially doubled my net worth, or put 50% on my net worth. And with others, and the way they're thinking is the things they would normally invest in are not giving them the returns they want. So that's why they're thinking, oh, okay, I should have a half a million Bitcoin and put some money in. So what you're seeing is people like a big person's looking to on this would be someone like Michael Saylor, who owns a MicroStrategy, is the company that he owns, and he's invested hundreds of millions of pounds into Bitcoin recently. And I would say like him alone has been a big reason why Bitcoin has gone from 10,000 to 30,000. Just the momentum behind what he's doing and the way that he's looking at it. And people like Raoul Pal, again, these are the kind of people now that are coming into the space and are putting credence behind the idea that hedge funds managers and big money people should be putting part of their wealth into Bitcoin. So the speculation is that when Bitcoin hits a $1 trillion market cap, all of these people have got no choice but to make sure that they put some money in it, because they've got their clients coming to them saying, why haven't I got any Bitcoin? Why haven't, and so they're looking like they can't do their jobs if Joe Bloggs down the road is investing in Bitcoin and making these clients loads of money, but he's not. So whereas before, to be one of these hedge fund managers and invest in Bitcoin was really risky, now it's like it's the thing to do. But that might change, so you should always keep across what the sentiment is.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of where Bitcoin is now and when you first got into it, like 2015, 16, what are the biggest changes you've seen in cryptocurrency, the space as a whole? What are the biggest changes you've seen that in from when you started to when you where we're at today? I know the price will be the main thing, but what else behind the scenes, or things that you thought to yourself, what made you believe in it more, or made you think that this is something I need to get involved in even more?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of ways to answer. I think there's the technology and the developments around it, particularly if you're looking at kind of other currencies and the ideas and just the amount of developers now that are involved in the space. That's a big thing. And I think a lot of it really for me is really around the mindset. Like I was saying before, back when I was in it, it's very nerdy. You had to be very nerdy to get involved. And then you had the speculation phase, everybody really trying to pile in, quite a few chances, trying to make some money, scammers, whatever. And now you've got kind of big institutional investors coming in. And that's the only way you're going to push it from the market cap it is now, $500 billion to 3, 4, 5 trillion. So that's the big difference, is that people who were initially very skeptical about it, would not touch it, thought it was, for drug dealers and this, that, and the other, are now realizing that it's kind of gone mainstream. So I'll say the mainstreamness of Bitcoin is the biggest change since I first got into it, really.
It makes me laugh when people say, the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin being used for like, criminals and all that stuff, when cash is nothing
exactly
used to do, like cash has never been used to do anything criminal.
Yeah, exactly. And if anything, if you're criminal worth your salt, you don't want to be doing anything in Bitcoin because it's all recorded there on the ledger, and people can reverse engineer all the transactions if they really, really wanted to, or they suspected that certain addresses were linked to you. So it's pseudo anonymous. It's not totally anonymous, and people can see what transactions are taking place. So
where do you see, a two-part question really, where do you see Bitcoin, let's talk about Bitcoin mainly, cryptocurrency as a whole, in the next 5-10 years? And second part of that is, would you encourage people to get involved in it? Obviously, disclaimer, you could do whatever you want, we're not financial advisors or anything, but would you encourage people to get involved in it? And and also with my first question is, so would you encourage people to get involved in it, for the second point? And the first point, where do you see it within the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so what I've noticed since I've got into it is that there's a market cycle for Bitcoin, right? So when I first got involved, it was the end of a bull market. Yeah. And so what I've seen since, say, 2000,
you're gonna have to explain bull market.
a bull market is a market where the prices where the value is going up, right? So generally with a asset or a stock or whatever, there's a period of time where everybody's enthusiastic about it, just like they are with Bitcoin. Everybody wants to pile in, wants to buy. And that's generally a bull market, when people are buying, more people are buying and selling over a long period of time.
When everyone's hyped over it.
Everyone's hyped,
Just making it rise, that's the bull market.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then, so that's it. And the bear market is the opposite, when everybody's selling it. So what I've noticed, you've got four-year cycles, right? So generally you have a bull market and then a correction, over exuberance, price has gone way, way above what it should have. There's no more people that are going to buy, and then there's a crash where all these people who made money start taking profits and start selling it down. And that normally lasts for 2 years. So when I first joined, that was like 2014, 2015, it was low, and then it went up again, 2016, 17. 17 was the high, 4 years from 2013, and then it went down again. So 2018, 19 low.
What was the price in T? Was it 19,000? 20,000?
Yeah, it went up to 19, almost 20,000 back in 2017. But then it crashed. That was the highest it had been previously to then.
Yeah.
And then it crashed down to 4,000, 3,000-ish. And then it's gone back up.
Like selling, right?
Say again?
Because everyone was selling.
Yeah, everyone was selling. And so 2018, 2019, low flow again. And all this coincides with the halvening, by the way, but I'm not going to talk too much about that yet. It's probably too technical. Yeah. So 2018, 2019 up again, well, down and bearish. 2020, it's going up again. 2021, we could see the highest it's going to be. So I would say and then I would expect if the cycle's true to form, 2022, 2021, back down again. How high it's going to go, I don't know. And how low it's going to fall, I don't know. But that would be my estimation, is that it's going to go up from here. Or potentially this could be the end of it. Because I know some people, there's two thoughts. There's thoughts that this could be towards the end of a bull market, like the time frame's shifted a bit. And there's thoughts that, oh, well, the last time that it was an all-time high was at the end of 2017. And then before that, it was the end of 2013. So logically, it should be towards the end of 2021. Right? Yeah. But then if everybody knows this, invariably, the market doesn't do what everybody expects it to do.
And plus, because I think more people are going to get involved as well and change that dynamic anyway. But you don't know.
Yeah. So but I would go with a trend until it proves me wrong. So I would personally say, okay, until it proves me that it's not going to be higher, I am just going to wait for it to go higher and watch it until it proves me wrong. I'll just go with the trend. So I'd say for 2000 and your original question for this year, it can go to crazy heights, and then I expect it to pull back. So I expect, it could easily go to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
Okay.
Why not? And then I expect it to pull back. It could pull back. If I say going true to form, it could pull back from 300,000 all the way back down to 60,000, whatever. Yeah. And then it goes bearish, and everybody's come out of it, and then it can go up to what some people are saying to 1 million or whatever. I don't know. Is the answer to that. But I would say there are these cycles, and you can use that in your analysis to say, well, this is what should happen. Yeah. And if it proves me wrong, then I'm going to back out of that and I'm going to reassess it. But yeah, that's what I would expect could happen to Bitcoin. But then I'm from a position where I've been in it a long time. I believe in it and whatever. So I wouldn't do anything based on my advice. What I'll suggest you do, though, is do have some analysis and some idea of where you think it might be in a year's time, where you think it might be in 5 years' time. Yeah. And then plan accordingly. And then if your thesis is wrong, then you make adjustments and constantly make adjustments. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. Cool. And then the second part would be, would you encourage any people to get involved and, to dabble?
Like I say, before you invest, get everything straight first. Get rid of bad debt. Make sure you've got like a nest egg. So if your current form of income goes, you have money to fall back on. And then make sure you have a plan
Are you saying, when you say that, are you saying you want to encourage, because, things happen in life, and then if you can see, for instance, you've made a bit of money on Bitcoin, are you saying you should sort of like take that out, or just leave? If you're putting money in Bitcoin, put it in there, have it as part of your long-term plan, and leave it?
Yeah, so my thing would be look into Bitcoin, right? Look into why people think it's valuable, right? And look into, if you're just purely investment-wise, look into what you think a realistic price of Bitcoin is. So if Bitcoin is to what people say replace gold, what would the value of Bitcoin be? What would the value of one Bitcoin be? If that's what you believe it is going to happen, then it wouldn't make sense for you to be taking money out before that happens.
Of course.
Do you understand? Unless you've built up a big position in Bitcoin where you can make life-changing money just by taking out maybe half of what you put in, then that would make sense to do. But it wouldn't make sense to be investing. This is you have to have what I would call what is known as a low time preference. So your time preference for making a return has to be, if you're going to be a good investor, 5, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, you want to pass it on to your kids or whatever. If your time frame is, oh, I just want to make some quick money over the next year or whatever, then, gamble away, because that's essentially what you're doing. But if you're investing, then you have to have some sort of thesis in your mind. Okay, Bitcoin is at this price. I believe Bitcoin will be the new gold. And for it to be a new gold, it would be this. Or I believe Bitcoin will not only suck up gold, it will also suck up value from stocks and shares, and people will be looking at it just as a store of value bigger than gold. So what do you think that price will be? And if you think that price will be $1 million, so if you think one Bitcoin will be $1 million, what sense would it make for you to sell the small bits of Bitcoin you're now for much, much less, right? But if you do not believe that, then why are you investing in Bitcoin? Right? You need to ask yourself, if you're just investing in Bitcoin because you think, it's just a little scam and it's just going to 2x, I could double my money, then double your money. But just do that. Move away. Double your money, switch off your computer, ignore it, whatever. Because what you don't want to do is you're looking at it.
Maybe just wait for the dips that you were talking about. When they're coming, then buying again. So have your philosophy, your thesis, your belief, but have that before you get involved. Like, that's what I would say, rather than just, someone told me to put some money in, so I'm just doing it, because it's volatile, right? And it can go down. But if you believe that Bitcoin is going to go to 300,000, 400,000 pounds, when it goes down, if it goes down to 10,000 pounds, where it is now, you're going to think, that's a bargain. Or sorry, 10,000, it's a bargain. Wow, excellent. You're going to be happy. But if you don't believe that, or you've never looked into it, or you've never really thought about it, the minute it goes against you, you're just going to be like, this is a scam. Fuck that, man. I'm going to take my money out. Blah, 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 blah. You're blaming Bitcoin, whereas it's always been volatile, and this is part of the game. And so if you're not ready for that, and a lot of times people do that, is because they need that money, right? They're looking at that and they actually need that money that they're putting into Bitcoin. They haven't, that's their savings or that's their whatever. Otherwise, you're like, well, I knew what it was. It was money that I could afford to lose. It was a risk that I thought I would take, and I was wrong in that. I need to be better in my investment thesis. And if you're investing in other stuff alongside Bitcoin, then that's just part of your investment portfolio, right? And that's what I'd advise people to have is if you're looking at investments, Bitcoin is the most risky investment that you can probably have right now. But then it's got what they call asymmetrical risk, right? You might lose half of your money if you invest in Bitcoin now. But then you might make 20 times your money, right? You only lose if you sell. That's the thing. You only lose if you sell. So if you hold on to it, don't panic. If it drops, you only lose if you sell it. If you keep it and it goes back up, then it's fine.
Yeah, but then that big thing is if it goes back up. And I can guarantee you that when it does drop, you will feel like it's never going to go back up. But that's part of the psychology. And that's why people sell.
I'm waiting for it to drop now. I want it to drop. I want it to drop.
That's the way it works, isn't it? When you want it to drop, it's still going up. You're like, it's not coming back to me. And then when you buy it, it starts to drop. And then, that's part of the psychology of investing.
No, cool. But see, now listen, let's look to wrap it up now. But for those people that might want to know more about you, how can they follow you? How because you're very, very knowledgeable on this stuff. Even though you're pretty quiet, I feel like you on here, especially on camera. Do you know what I mean? So, if you want to learn more, how can they follow you and your tips, or are you even promoting?
I'm not promoting myself like that, to be fair. But I'm on Twitter, Nanzo Scoop, at Nanzo Scoop on Twitter. I'm not really looking to be a social media person, really. But I'm always open. If you are genuinely interested in cryptocurrency and you want to know more and you want to dive into the weeds on some stuff, and I'm always interested to talk to people. And I mean, what my main thing is to explore kind of new areas of crypto. So what I'm looking at now is things like what they call NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So things like, I don't know if you can see back up here,
above
there.
Yeah,
Right there. Like that's like a piece of crypto art that I bought. So what that is like you can have a token that represents a piece of art. So if you think about something like the Mona Lisa, for example, like if you went out and bought the Mona Lisa tomorrow, how do you know it's an authentic Mona Lisa? Right? You're relying on trusting other people that it's authentic, right? Whereas with something like crypto art and a crypto token, I can buy a piece of art and I know I bought the token that corresponds to that piece of art on the blockchain. And that's
one, by the way.
What's this? This is just a piece of art that I bought from, there's a site called Super Rare, which is on the Ethereum blockchain, and you can buy art on there. So I bought a piece on there. I bought a few pieces on there. So mainly it's to support artists and to show artists that there's another way of making money out of your art. And I did that with Steam. When I was on Steam, I did a lot of that, like supporting people that wrote and they were artists and the ways in which they can make money. And this is just my next thing, is to support artists. And so the idea for me as an investor is that I'm thinking that A, I can support these artists, and two, if one of these artists becomes the next, Banksy or whatever, I've got a piece of their art, which is then worth X times more than it is now. I'm more interested in, how, cryptocurrency can take people forward, particularly creative people, how it can push the boundaries and take things forward. And I'm not necessarily looking at that as, oh, well, it's going to make me loads and loads of money. But at the same time, I think, just being able to see how powerful and useful crypto can be in kind of changing the paradigm where everything is based on, like, we live in a world where a lot of the value is based on physical stuff. Like, take art, the value is in physical art pieces, right?
Yeah.
Whereas there's this whole world of digital art and stuff that's been done digitally and copied digitally that the value isn't captured properly as far as I'm concerned. And if we can find a good way to capture the value and the uniqueness and the rarity and scarcity of digital art, then I think that's a place which can grow and thrive. So that's the whole kind of NFT. And, that might not make a lot of sense to people now, just like Bitcoin didn't make a lot of sense to people 10 years ago. But let's see where it is in 10 years' time.
Yeah. So it seems like a natural transition. Everything's going digital anyway. So it would make sense that, as if you're early into things like this, one of the beneficiaries, this might be like finding Bitcoin at $10. Do you know what I mean? So so you just don't know. But listen, T, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on. And I want to try and get you on at least once every 2 months or once a month, just to update on things like that, because the knowledge, even every time I speak to you, my mind starts going. Do you know what I mean? Because there's loads of different you're into, which is very, very interesting. I'm sure a lot of value will be sought out after this interview from the people that are watching. But T, thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? Thank you very much.
All right, all good.
Get back involved and have another pod very, very soon. All right?
Yeah, all good.
Nice one. And I'll speak to you soon, yeah?
All right, speak to you soon, bro. All right, nice one.